Welcome to Vegan Business Talk with Katrina Fox, author of Vegan Ventures, Start and Grow an Ethical Business. Hello and welcome to episode 145 of Vegan Business Talk. I'm Katrina Fox, journalist, author and PR consultant and founder of Vegan Business Media, a content events and training platform providing success strategies and resources for vegan business owners and entrepreneurs. Firstly, a quick announcement. I get a lot of people contacting me asking how they can work with me. So this is a little plug to let you know that I offer a range of services to vegan and plant-based business owners and entrepreneurs. From online training and group coaching to PR, content creation and copywriting services, and one-on-one tailored individual private consultations. So if you're wanting help to promote or grow your vegan business, brand, product, service, book, or other creative project, head over to veganbusinessmedia.com and click on the Work With Me menu link for more details. Now for the main part of the show. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. I'm joined today by Ran Nussbacher, co-founder and CEO of Shouk, a plant-based fast casual restaurant in Washington, D.C. that features healthy Israeli-inspired food. Prior to founding Shouk, Ran served as vice president of sales with O-Power, a clean tech software company focused on eliminating energy waste and reducing CO2 emissions. Welcome to the show, Ran.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to find out more about what you do. So my first question that I always ask people on the show is, what are your drivers for doing what you do? What's your why behind Shouk?
Short. The short answer is pain. When I see what's happening in the world as far as animal abuse and animal consumption, either be it for food or any other consumer products that we use, I feel great pain, and that's pain I've been feeling for many years now as I changed my own life from being that of a quote unquote normal person, omnivore, to vegetarian and then vegan. And the more I did it, the more I learned about what degree of reliance and abuse we have when it comes to animals, and it's that pain and desire to do something about it that drove me to leave my previous career behind and I really apply all my energy, time, and money towards helping to solve this problem. And specifically, you mentioned O-Power. O-Power was a great catalyst on that journey, because at O-Power we motivated individual people, individual households to take very small actions when it came to reducing the energy consumption. So we were convincing people to turn off the lights when they left the room, for example, which in and of itself on an individual family level is meaningless. But when you aggregate that over millions of people, you're able to make a big difference environmentally. So it's that learning that I took forward with me, and I said, what can I do to drive small, daily, seemingly meaningless actions that, if I were able to do it a million times over, would have a big effect on animal welfare, on planetary welfare, and human health as well. And that's really how I got into the world of vegan business and into the restaurant business.
Wow. So what challenges did you face? Because coming from working for a tech software company to going into the hospitality and restaurant trade, that's quite a big shift. So tell us a little bit about some of your key challenges when you first started out.
Oh, man. Going from high tech to low tech proved to be, maybe surprisingly, immeasurably more complex. I mean, the food service business is the most complex business environment I've ever encountered. Just the number of moving parts is unbelievable. And therein lies the challenge, of course, for somebody who spent many, many years in the software world. The dynamics of a business to consumer, physical, experiential business are very different. I mean, I think the interesting news and maybe the good news is that the challenges that I faced are normal restaurant challenges that they have nothing to do with the fact that we are a plant-based concept. And I think that's good news, because at the end of the day, it means that we are on level playing field with everybody else. We don't, we're not facing any headwinds that are unique to the fact that we are serving food, but your normal daily challenges of restaurateurs, especially one that has zero experience in the field, anywhere from the regulatory and legal aspects of breathing a restaurant concept to life, physically building it, and then dealing with matters of staffing and food safety and customer feedback, and suppliers and perishable inputs, all those things that you might imagine any restaurateur is dealing with, we have as well.
For sure. So how did you handle this? Because you've not just got, I think you've got more than one location. So, like running one single restaurant or eatery is quite challenging in and of itself, but you've expanded. So how did you manage to handle that and to be able to expand and grow?
Through brute force. I mean, there is no shortcut. You have to throw yourself into the weeds of the work. You have to do the work yourself, so you understand it, so you learn it, and only then are you able to, I think, direct and guide and hire the right people to help you with it. So, in the beginning, it was 16 hours days. That's all we did, just doing the job and learning through doing, not through any other means. And as things took off and customer response was amazing, we're able to do more and able to grow the team to such a place where it became possible to expand. But it still is a very, very involved business day to day.
Right. So you were involved, as you say, as the founder. You just didn't, because some people, they come from a non-hospitality background and straight away they just hire people to do that kind of part of it and they don't work in the day-to-day. But what you're saying is it worked for you to be actually involved in that day-to-day, certainly in the beginning.
I personally don't feel that there is another path. And I think that people who attempt to choose the more hands-off path rarely succeed. Because at the end of the day, nobody understands and loves your business as much as you do, and especially when the business is about more than just making money, but has a mission, has an agenda, and a commitment to a certain lifestyle and certainly a certain quality of product. You really have to lead by example. You have to do it yourself, and if you are to be a good operator, a good CEO, a good leader, you have to know your business, and there's no other way to know your business than doing it through your hands.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very good point. So tell us about the impact of COVID-19 on your business. At the time of this interview, we're in August 2020, so we've had lockdown. We've come out a bit of lockdown in various countries. We've gone back in, some places have gone into partial. So tell us a little bit about what's been the impact of the pandemic on your business.
Sure. The impact has been very positive. Frankly,
oh wow! Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
Yes, I know.
Tell me more.
It may not be a popular thing to say, but it has been a very good period for us, and I attribute that to three things primarily. First of all, we are fast casual, which means that we are well practiced and have the infrastructure in place to handle delivery and takeout, and generally what we call off-premise dining in the business. So it's something that has been always a big part of our business, and we have early on invested in the technical capabilities to do it very efficiently. So all those earlier investments really paid off as we entered the shelter at home period of COVID-19. So that was certainly an asset for us. The second is that we were very quick on our feet, and we're able to come up with programs and ways to still service our customers. So the main thing we've done is something that we call the Hood Drop program. And the Hood Drop program is really a way for us to serve our fan base and our customer base that is sheltered at home, far away enough from us that traditional delivery services don't get to them. And what we do is we've identified 20 some key neighborhoods, and primarily in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. So we're talking about 5, 10, sometimes 15 miles away from where we are. And we put them on a schedule. And we've built a system or virtual locations, virtual stores, if you will, on our app, such that any one person can go on the app, find their neighborhood, and, so to speak, order takeout right to their neighborhood. And on a particular day, at a particular location, particular time, we show up with their order.
Oh.
And that has been, I think of it as a partnership between us and our customers, but that has been amazing for them and for us as we continue to serve them.
So when you say you show up, does that mean you like hire a van and like drive up and then physically hand them their meals? So they pre-order their meals on the app and for a particular day, and then you drive up and you have people, I don't know, arriving and queuing up, and then you hand them their meal. Is that how that works?
That's exactly right. It's almost like getting takeout, but instead of coming to downtown DC, you go to the local community center or the neighborhood pool, and at 6 o'clock, our driver and van show up with the order that you pre-ordered. People line up, socially distance, and within 10 minutes or so, we hand out 40 orders, 40 families. Customers appreciate the service because we are the only ones who are bringing plant-based, our brand of particular food, which is also certified kosher. We have a lot of customers who are looking for that. So we provide what they consider to be a crucial service. And for us, obviously, it's a way to kind of almost bypass the limitations of COVID-19 and still serve our customers.
And have you still been able to keep that? Because obviously factoring in now a van driver, the cost of the van driver, the gas or petrol, has it still been able to be a profitable enterprise for you to do that?
It has been. We do charge a small fee for the service. So every order has a few dollars tacked onto it, and together in aggregate, it's enough to pay to pay well for a driver to spend their time doing it, because we are doing 20, 30, 40 orders at a time. It works out very well.
Gotcha. Nice. Wonderful. I love that. Very innovative. What else? I believe you've also been doing meal kits, or you've been planning to do meal kits and a frozen version of your Shouk burger.
We launched a pantry section of our menu where you can buy provisions, or anywhere from sauces and dips and different pickled items that we make, seasonings and spices. So people have been in their orders, kind of alongside getting a ready-to-eat meal, are adding a lot of those items for later to use in their own kitchens. And then yes, it's not official news yet, but we are working and getting ready to launch a version of our Shouk burger, which has been our claim to fame. So burger patties that people can, grill at home or use in their kitchens. Wonderful.
Wow. I love the way you've really kind of done a strong, I guess it's the buzzword of the century, pivot in some really, you haven't just kind of stood still, and, you've really kind of been creative in keeping your business open, because I guess a lot of restaurants and eateries had to shut down, which was quite difficult. So brilliant! Thank you for sharing that. I think that's fantastic. In terms of your main customers and demographic, I know you just touched on that. You said a lot of people want to buy the kosher. Are the majority of your customers vegan or vegetarian, or are they mainly people who just like Israeli food and don't mind that it happens to be plant-based? I know that might be just anecdotal, but what's your kind of general feel about that in terms of your customers?
Yeah, not at all. I would say that the vegetarians and vegans represent a very small minority.
Really? Wow. I love hearing that, actually, because even though I'm vegan and I love having good vegan food, but I love to hear that, because it really shows that, more, which is what you want. The vegans will always find a good vegan business, I think, whereas, we want the rest of the population too.
Yeah, I think this is an important point. When I set out to do this, the objective was to promote and advance plant-based dining and to make it more mainstream. The impact can only be had if we're able to feed plant-based meals to people who are not already oriented that way. I mean, it's wonderful to offer options to our vegan friends, but we're really not moving the needle by doing that. So the whole concept of Shouk from the ground up, the branding, the menu philosophy, everything about the concept has been designed specifically to remove and eliminate the barriers that often omnivores feel when they look at the vegan restaurants, and kind of make it a non-issue. So we don't use the word vegan. Our menu looks nothing like what 95% of vegan restaurants serve. We specifically do not rely and use any processed analogs or anything like that. Stuff that has come to be associated with veganized versions of regular food. We don't do any of that. We offer a unique product, a unique flavor profile, wrapped up in the brand that has an ethnic personality, that has a personality that is completely outside of the world of veganism. And by doing that, we're able to attract everybody, and we are.
I noticed you one of my questions was going to be around the use of the word vegan in your marketing materials or your promotion. So you're saying you don't use the word vegan at all. Do you use plant-based? And that's particularly big. Tell us why.
We initially have not used either. We completely remained silent on the topic of plant-based and vegan because it wasn't about that. It was about amazing food, a unique offering, a differentiated offering, one that was ethnically inspired and exotic and interesting, and really that was all that mattered. And if you were vegan, then you cared about the fact that the food was vegan, but if you were not, it was irrelevant.
But did you not have people coming up though that were like, but where's the meat? Like you didn't have people ask that?
Yeah, sometimes, for sure. And we tell them there isn't any, and we hand them a sample, and that's all it took.
Oh, okay, nice.
That's all it took. And there were, but we also never corrected people. I mean, people would come in and order the Shouk burger, and you could tell that they assumed it was a meat burger. We didn't go out of our way to tell them it wasn't.
Nice.
And they loved it. So we're not about those labels because those labels are limiting and they are barriers. I will say that in the 4 years since we started, certainly the attitudes around plant-based have changed dramatically. And so, recently we are starting to use the term plant-based a little bit more. But still, that is not the main thing that we go by or identify ourselves by.
Great. No, I love hearing those different strategies because it is different for every business. So, there's no wrong or right answer. But I love that. And I like the fact that, sometimes, you just don't mention it, unless somebody actually asks. So that's a very cool little stealth strategy. I like it. Can you talk to us a little bit about how the business has been funded to date, whatever you're comfortable sharing? Do you have investors? Have you self-funded? Has it been organic? How has it been funded to date?
Sure. Coming from the software startup world, we've modeled our funding more so on the likes of software companies than restaurants. So we follow kind of a traditional tech model of equity ownership in the holding company as a whole. So we have investors. My partner and myself are also among those investors, so we're right there with them, and that's it. Yeah, it's a pretty straight up equity model.
Cool. Were you able to get investors right from the beginning? Then did you start with that, or did you bring on investors further down the track?
We started with investors from the get go.
So they bought into the vision. So they bought into your vision.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And that was the main reason why.
Right. Cool. Got it. Because sometimes with, particularly with restaurants, it can be quite tricky, I think, for like a single restaurant to get investors, because often, particularly nowadays, they want, companies that are going to scale or, that have already been running for a while and have been turning a profit. So I just find it interesting that you got investors right from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason is that we never really told a classic restaurant story. Our mission is not to be a restaurant company. Our mission is to make plant-based food mainstream and to change how we eat. So we view ourselves as a food company, not as a restaurant company. The restaurant may be how we started, or kind of the first business line or leg of the stool of the company, but it's not the whole vision or the whole story.
Got it. Nice. I like that. It's a nice differentiation. Fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about what current marketing strategies do you use and what have you found most effective?
Sure. There's nothing more effective in our world than word of mouth. So anything that we can do to fuel that momentum is the best. So frankly, recently the most effective marketing tool we've had, if you believe it or not, is actually the Hood Drop program, because through it we've got exposure to I would say about 90% net new customers that have not known us before. Because if you were a Shouk fan who lived in neighborhood X, and now we announce that we're coming to the neighborhood, you're getting all your neighbors and friends that have never heard of us before to partake.
I see.
And that has been, so it's kind of served, more an immediate need to connect with customers, but also as an amazing grassroots marketing effort.
So before the Hood Drop, how were you getting people to actually come in?
We've had kind of our general share of, I would say we use social media in a similar fashion to our peers. We're not unique in that, but we do have a very heavy social media presence. We have had more than a share of press and awards, and have been featured locally in food blogs and nationally in the Washington Post many times, as well as on national TV and the Food Network. So a lot of press, certainly for as young a business as ours, plays a big role in bringing customers in the door.
It does indeed, yes. It's something very close to my heart. It's what I always teach vegan business owners and entrepreneurs is, get some media coverage. So I guess on that, or related to that, there's obviously, I'm curious about how and why you think you got that media coverage, because there's obviously more and more plant-based eateries now. There's more frozen foods, etc., on the market than ever before. So how does Shouk go about standing out from, I guess, quote, I put competition in air quotes because obviously, if it's other vegan businesses, it's collaboration. But I'm just curious how you actually stand out. Is it the fact that at the moment you're still like either one of or the only plant-based Israeli-inspired eateries, or something else?
I think the answer is banal. Actually, I think it's the product. The product is differentiated, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, what our philosophy when it comes to food is that the plant world is so vast and amazing that you don't need crutches. And if you know how to thoughtfully put vegetables together, you can create amazing flavors that would satisfy anybody. And certainly we also do it in a very creative, sometimes whimsical way. So it is the quality of our food and our food philosophy that stands out. That's what's interesting to people. That's what's interesting to food writers and critics. That's what's interesting to, TV journalists. You have a lot of options out there for, getting a Beyond Meat burger in a bun with tomato and lettuce. And it may be good, but there's a lot of people who do it. And there's, and we take a very, very differentiated approach by making everything from scratch, by really focusing not only on being plant-based, but also on being healthy and celebrating the plant world and doing it with our unique little spin that is, yes, ethnically inspired, but it's really kind of our color palette, right? The painting that we create is very different and interesting. So I think at the end of the day, it's again, it's banal, but the product speaks for itself.
Nice. I like that. Now, you've moved from working for a company, a software tech company, to running your own business. So what, in your opinion, are the key things that, for anyone listening who might be, wanting to start their own business in whatever they might want to do, what are the key things they need to take into account before making that leap from employment to running your own business?
I would say three things. First of all, the back to your first question, the why has to be there, and it has to be very strong. There has to be a fire burning, a great desire, a great pain, because it's going to be really, really hard and trying. And I think the universe will constantly test your resolve and ask, "Hey, you sure you really want this?" And you have to have a very good reason as to why. So I think a lot of people are enamored with the idea of working for themselves or starting a business and striking it rich. That's not going to work.
Yeah, working fewer hours and earning more money. Not really the case initially, is it?
No, quite the opposite.
The opposite, yeah.
Or ever, frankly. So I think there has to be a very strong why, and I would even say only go into business for yourself if you cannot imagine doing anything else. If really there's no other, there is no other alternative. If you have an alternative, if you can imagine yourself remaining employed somewhere, stay there. So that's number one. Yeah. Number two, at the end of the day, the vegan label, the agenda doesn't matter. At the end of the day, whatever business we choose to go into is the business we're going to be in. So we're in the restaurant business. I'm not CEO of a vegan restaurant. I'm a CEO of a restaurant, and I am dealing day in out with the challenges of running a restaurant. So you need to remember that at the end of the day, you're running a business in a particular industry, and you need to be ready and interested in the activities that you'll spend every day doing, and in the challenges that environment provides.
Which may involve you getting out of your comfort zone, which I think a lot of people, some people really take to that and they love it. They love the uncertainty, and other people, it freaks them out, the chaos.
Yeah, but if you're going into food service, then you are in food service. If you're going into fashion, you are fashion. The fact that you're doing so in a plant-based or harmless manner is great, but that tends to be almost adjacent to the fact that day in and day out you're dealing with the challenges of that particular type of business.
Yeah,
and you need to like that. And the third thing, number three is leave yourself an out. I mean, make sure that you can ride the roller coaster on the journey, that you have financial means to do it without getting yourself into trouble. And to have a plan B in case you change your mind or things don't work out. That's okay.
Yeah, nice. That's brilliant. Now, you touched on, just to wrap up, you touched on the fact that at the moment Shouk is a restaurant, but you're going to be launching a burger, and you potentially got some other things, and you're a food company. So tell us a little bit, what's your long-term vision for yourself and the brand?
Our mission is really to bring our unique DNA to helping make plant-based food more normal and mainstream in the most scalable way possible. So we're looking at all avenues. The restaurant category we've chosen to go into, which is the fast casual, we've chosen that over other models because it is more scalable and accessible, both there in terms of physical reach and price point. So we've chosen that for a very particular reason. The addition now of pantry and provisions and the burger are a way to take our creations and make them available in a way that goes beyond the physical limitations of a restaurant. So we'll continue to explore all avenues where we can add value and make plant-based food accessible to people and exciting.
Brilliant. And just finally, where can we find you online, or where can we find Shouk online?
Sure. Our website is at www.shouk.com, and you can find us all over social media with hashtag ShoukFood, one word, ShoukFood.
Wonderful. And we'll put links to that in the show notes. It's been wonderful speaking with you, Ran. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your expertise. And I love your concept and the fact that you're doing a restaurant without the use of meat analogues. It's doing something different, which I think is great. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of your growth. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me on the show and for letting me tell our story.
So that's it for this episode of Vegan Business Talk. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you like the show, please give it a review on iTunes or whatever platform you're listening on, as it helps to get it seen by more people. There are more free resources on the veganbusinessmedia.com website to help you in your quest to build and sustain a successful business. And if you'd like to work with me personally on promoting and growing your vegan business or brand, you'll find details on how to do this on the website at veganbusinessmedia.com and clicking on the Work With Me menu link. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to catching up with you on the next episode of Vegan Business Talk. Bye for now.